If you're not passing the interviews, even though you know you're qualified, or you make the second and third rounds, but find yourself repeatedly passed over, you're in the right place. Because in today's video, I'm going to reveal the 3 most common reasons why qualified job candidates miss out on offers that they deserve. So let's go. Number 1, not preparing your responses beforehand. One common misconception many job seekers have is that they're supposed to just show up at an interview and say whatever comes to their mind on the spot. They think that this is being genuine and authentic. But let me humbly submit to you, that is a terrible idea. If you had an important presentation or a business meeting coming up that could change the trajectory of your career, would you make sure to prepare for it as best as you can, or will you just wing it? Of course you will work on it. An interview is the same. In fact, it's probably more difficult. Think about it with me. An interview is around how long? About 30 to 60 minutes, right? And remember, the interviewer doesn't know you at all in most situations, which means you have to make enough impact and convince someone you never met before that you are the ideal person for the job in just 30 to 60 minutes. Do you think being intentional about what you speak, what you will emphasize, will be important? Yes, of course. And you only get one chance. Sure, maybe you'll be able to get by in the first round, even if you are not so intentional. But as you progress through to the subsequent rounds and compete with other people who have also passed the previous interviews, how focused and strategic your response and stories are, and as a result, how convincingly you present yourself, will directly impact the result. How many times have you thought after the interview, oh man, I should have said this instead of that. Oh, I should have talked about this. Why didn't I? The last example I used was terrible. Why did I even bring it up? These are all regrets that we make as a result of lack of preparation, and they can be easily solved with a little bit of work beforehand. Remember, only one person gets a job. At the end of the day, the employer can only choose one person to hire. Your job is not just to make decent answers. Your job during most interviews is to convince that you are the ideal, the number one candidate, better than everyone else in contention. If you only make just okay responses throughout the process, you may still proceed to the second and third rounds, but you will not be the person with the offer in the end, at least not for the dream job at an ideal employer of your choice. The good news is that there are only about 10 to maybe 15 questions that you need to know to be able to cover 80% plus of questions, all the questions that you will face in pretty much any interview. Some examples of these questions include, tell me about yourself, what are your strengths and weaknesses, what are your career goals, and why should we hire you, and etc. Besides working on these questions, you should also decide beforehand the stories and experiences that you will bring up with clear achievements and stats so that you won't miss your most impactful selling points and stay focused the whole time. Number 2, lack of confidence. Picture this with me. You just bought your dream house. You have worked so hard for this moment. You have amazing ideas and you're looking for an interior designer to create an incredible layout. You're having a meeting with a potential designer to decide if you want to go with this person. How would you feel if she, from the moment you met her, hardly makes any eye contact, speaks so softly you can barely hear her, and sounds unsure about everything she's telling you? Now contrast that with another person who starts a meeting with confidence and a firm handshake. She seems calm and poised, clearly explains to you what can and cannot be achieved for your home, as well as why. She doesn't come across arrogant, but seems fully convinced she can deliver everything she says she can do for you. Which person would you trust your precious time and hard-earned dollars with? I'm sure the answer is obvious. In the same way, when you show up for an interview, the employer is looking for someone who can do the same for them, someone who can help them and meet their needs. The only reason a company would hire anyone is because they have an important initiative, a problem to be solved, major projects, and things that they need to improve. And they're looking for someone who can help them meet those needs, solve their problems, and deliver the results that they want. As they interview various candidates, who do you think will assure them the most that they have what it takes to do the job and to help them? Someone who is nervous, speaks with no authority or conviction, and doesn't seem to believe in what they're saying, or someone who is composed, confident in herself, and engages the interviewer with energy. I mean, who would you like to work with? Of course, the big question is, how can I have more confidence? Because it's not like I want to be nervous on purpose, right? A great question. Actually, I made a video about this topic previously, and you can watch it here. So I'm not going to get into too much detail today, but here are 2 super effective tips. The first one is preparation. Instead of talking on the spot in a highly tense environment where you're constantly being judged or assessed, preparation or sufficient preparation can significantly relieve the pressure. Improvisation is hard, and most people, even seasoned professionals, will find it nerve-wracking if they have to come up with responses on the spot, especially at an important meeting or presentation. By working on it beforehand, having gathered the necessary information, understanding what the employer is looking for, having thought through what you need to cover and what you should not bring up, and practicing your delivery, you will find that your confidence will be at a completely new level as a result. And the second tip is shifting the focus or mindset change. Another big reason why we find ourselves nervous is because of the focus on self. It is because we are focused on ourselves during the interview and are bombarded with thoughts like, oh, I really want this job. I wonder how I'm doing. What are they thinking of me? Oh no, I made a mistake, and etc. A useful trick we can use when we start feeling the lack of confidence is to shift our focus away from ourselves and making it about the other person. In this case, the employer. You see, as much as we want the job, it's just as true that the employer needs help too. They have real needs and problems that they need solving, like I mentioned. And they're hoping that you would be the person to help them. So during the interview, and especially when you start feeling nervous, make a decision that you are not there to prove yourself, but instead you're there to help the interviewer and the employer. When our focus is helping other people, we are not nearly as nervous. And you'd be surprised at how effective this technique of changing your mindset can be when it comes to getting over your nerves. Not only that, as you keep the goal of the meeting as how you can help the company instead of what you can get from them, they will in turn recognize you care about their needs first, and as a result, also be drawn to you that much more. Before my third and final point, if you're enjoying this video so far, why not click the like button below and subscribe if you haven't already? And if you have already done that, number 3, communication skills. We all intuitively know that our communication and delivery matter, but just how much? Well, according to a well-respected and accepted research, the answer is 7, 38, and 55. What do these numbers mean? These numbers represent how meaning is conveyed through spoken word, tone of voice, and body language, respectively. In other words, 7% of meaning is communicated through spoken word, 38% through tone of voice, and 55% through body language. Now, we may argue how accurate these specific figures are, but one thing is clear. Your communication skills have far greater impact than even the words you say. The fact of the matter is that people remember how you made them feel much more than what you said to them. And this is true in interviews too. At the end of the day, employers are drawn to people who make them feel assured and convinced that they're the right person. And how do we induce such emotions? Largely through the way we communicate. How often do we use filler words like ums and ahs? Our vocal quality, facial expressions, how we make eye contact, the way we stand or sit, and other factors. If you want to know more about how you can improve your interview presentation skills, I created a short video on this topic, which you can check out right here. But there are so many other amazing resources on communication, and I highly recommend you check them out and work on them. Because the better you communicate, the more convincing you will be, and the more convincing you are, the better results you will get every time. One of the most frequently asked questions in an interview, and therefore one that can help you make the most impact, is, tell me about yourself. If you want to learn all about how to master this central question, click the video on the screen. I will leave the link in the description too. See you again soon, and I wish you all the very best.